Thanks, Mike. Well, this used to be probably the most exciting day of the year besides opening day, because you get to wrap up a long year of recruiting. Now we're in a situation where feel like you're recruiting guys in diapers because it's starting so early. A few of these guys that we have in this class have been committed for over a year, and that's a it's a situation as things move up with the recruiting calendar. You need to stay up with everything that's going on, from kids that just enter their freshman year all the way through their junior year. If you look at what happened in this class and the early commitments we got on highly ranked players, it kind of snowballed a little bit. So Eric Snyder, Drew Dickinson, those guys did such a great job of going out, identifying the talent. They did a great job of cultivating the relationships and then closing the door on them, or kind of bring them on campus and getting everything in line. So really pleased with what they did. If you look at this class, I think it's a very good class. I know you've never heard a coach get up on recruiting day and say, you know what, I had the worst recruiting class in the world. But I do feel good about this class because I think these players fit what we're trying to do. If you look at our classes over the last probably 5 or 6 years, the main goal that we've had is to bring in great pitching and to bring in great athletes. And I think we've added to the players that we have. You go back a year ago, and the 10 players that we brought in on campus that are freshmen right now truly fit and are going to be a great foundation for our future success. I had a conversation with one of our seniors about 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about the freshman class, and what he said was, they don't look like freshmen, they don't act like freshmen. And I truly agree with him. We have a number of freshmen that are here that are going to step in and be very successful. You look at the class that we signed today, they fit in the same way. It's a group that is going to come in. They've been very, very successful. They're very athletic. They're very skilled. They've played at the national level. They've all been successful, and I think they're impact players. You look at the press release that Ben Taylor did such a great job on. The one thing that we talked about and that he added is the fact that we do have impact players. And that's tough to say when you talk about young people. But again, we look at athleticism and makeup. The thing that we really were concerned about with this class was bringing in some players that were versatile. We really feel like we're going to lose our entire outfield this year. We know we're going to lose 2 that are seniors, and then we have another junior that could be a pretty high draft. So with that being said, we needed some help in the outfield. Alex Greer is a person that Coach Snyder went out and did a great job with at Iowa Western. Iowa Western won the Junior College World Series last year. Alex is a premier player, one of the top players in the country, has great speed. He is probably going to be the closest natural speed that we've had to Kyle Hudson since Kyle left, and I think that's very impressive. He also has power and throws well from the outfield. Is a person that we think can step into center field possibly and help us out right away. We have another outfielder that we recruited out of Ohio. His name's Dan Rowbottom. Dan is just a baseball junkie. He's a person that has great instincts. We got a number of left-handed bats in this group, and those 2 fit into that category. We brought in 2 infielders that are also pitchers, and the tough thing we're going to have is which positions to play them. They could be impact players on the mound, so if they fit into the starting rotation, how do we use them so that we don't hurt them? We have 2 shortstops that I'm talking about that could be everyday position players. And if they're everyday position players because we need their bat and their gloves in the lineup, then do those guys move to the bullpen? So we're going to have some things that we need to kind of sort out with these guys, but it's a good situation given because they're great athletes. One of those is Matthew James, and the other one is Ryan Roper, which is the brother of Reed Roper, which is one of our current players. We also have a first baseman outfielder by the name of Anthony Drago. Anthony is one of those guys that you better not turn your camera off very often because he may swing and miss twice and then hit one about 450 feet. He's got electric power. He's a guy that is very driven, works very hard, just like the rest of the guys in the class. And then the one, I'm going to call him a true pitcher, because we recruited him as a primary pitcher, but may have one of the best swings of anybody coming in and just hits the ball over the ballpark is Cody Sedlock. Mark Johnson is from Rock Island Almond, so is Cody Sedlock. I think Cody's a better athlete than Mark, but I'll probably get put in a headlock and thrown on a table somewhere for saying that. But with Cody coming in, he brings a toughness to the team. I had a scout call me after we'd already gotten a commitment from him. The scout had never seen him, and he told me that he thinks he will be the top pitcher out of the state by the time the year is over because of his command and his breaking stuff. So, again, just really pleased with the class. It's a class, that again I think will have an impact, and it's an easy sell with what's going on at Illinois with the baseball program, with all the support staff, with the staff that we have. But the thing that I think was very impressive about this class could be some of the players we didn't get. When we started to get certain players to commit, we had a number of other players that tried to jump on board, and we didn't have enough scholarship money. So you look at the quality of player that we got, and even some that didn't end up here, I think it shows that the staff has done a great job to get the word out, cultivate the right players, bring the right players in where more and more of the top players want to be here at Illinois. So, again, really pleased with everything, and look forward to this year and look forward to the players coming in a year from now.
Dan, you've had some success recruiting brothers in the past. Now you get Ryan and Reed. Just the importance of that and how that works out and can really help out your program for years to come.
Well, you have one of two things with brothers. You either have brothers that can't get along and they fight all the time, or you have brothers that really get along well and care about each other. Start off with, we have the Parr brothers, and those guys get along great. And then you look at Reed and Ryan, and the only thing that they want to do right now is play baseball. They're very good students, but they want to live together. And so that tells me that they get along so well. They support each other. I know that Reed drives home every Saturday to see his brother play football. Harrisburg High School, where Ryan's a quarterback, they actually play in Rochester this week, so they've advanced deep into the tournament from a football standpoint. And I know Reed is staying around to travel there. Brothers are nice to have. The family understands what goes on in the program, and there's an expectation that the player also understands what he needs to do to be successful, because usually the older brothers give them a little bit of an idea how we conduct our business and the things that are important.
How does Ryan compare to Reed? I'm sure you're not going to say which one of them's better, but compare and contrast them a little bit, I guess.
Well, the difference is one's a right-handed hitter, one's a left-handed hitter. They're both middle infielders. They both are very good off the mound. You look at what Reed did last year being our closer, and he was consistently 88 to 91, touching 92 at times. I think you're going to see the same things out of Ryan when he gets here. I think Ryan is maybe a little bit more of a true shortstop. He's not quite as large in the lower half like Reed is, where Reed gets some of his power. But with Ryan being a little bit more mobile, he still has great power. So, I'm not sure that one's better than the other. They both bring some very important aspects to the table. If you look at Ryan, and I know rankings don't mean anything, but if you look at him, he's been 1 or 2 in the state throughout his entire career, and I'm sure he'll end up number 1 or number 2 by the end of the year.
Coach, talk a little bit about the unique challenge you face here in baseball that really no other sport does. You've got guys who are signed who may not end up coming because they could get possibly drafted next summer. Any guys that you've heard scouts looking at closely, and how do you try to prepare for that possibility?
I don't know if you can prepare for it. You may just have to rip up that sheet and start over, after the draft. We have a number of players that will be looked at by professional baseball. There's a part of the recruiting process that's very important with trying to identify players that have the ability to be professional players, but that school is very, very important to them. And we think we have a group that school is very important. If you look at the class we brought in last year, there's probably 3 or 4 of those players that could have been fairly high drafts, but school is important to them, and scouts know that the education here is so good that you have to spend a lot of money to buy players out, from going ahead and going to school and getting their education. Again, there will be a number of these players that are highly sought after professionally. We just need to do a good job to help the players understand what their earning potential is after school, in that if they continue to progress, then we'll be in a situation where hopefully they're higher drafts when they leave Illinois. I think one of the big things that you look at, and one of the things that you really sell because we've had success there, is you look at the number of players that have come in that are either undrafted or very low drafts, and with the development that Eric has done and that Drew's doing with the pitchers, those guys are leaving as higher drafts, and so that gives you something to sell, and I think that's very important. So I always tell the players, if you get a degree from the University of Illinois, worst case scenario, if you get the degree from here rather than not going to school and getting a degree, you're probably setting yourself up for at least $30,000 more per year on average, which is $1 million over your working career. So if you can guarantee somebody $1 million, I think most of us would take that.
Dan, you mentioned the JUCO transfer. Do you have a specific position that you project him at, or are you going to have to see what happens when he gets?
Yeah, Alex Greer, I would think, would come in and be either a center fielder or a right fielder. Again, he throws so well. I think my biggest concern a year from now will be who can handle the sun field, which is right field. You need somebody in center field that can track balls, cover a large area, but in our ballpark, right field is so tough. So we'll see who handles that field the best, whether it's Alex or someone else, and that will kind of dictate where he plays.
Do you is right field such a priority that you have at times maybe put your best center fielder in right field?
That's a good question. I never know why we do things, but you sit out there and watch guys in right field enough, you learn which person can play that field. And I do believe in our ballpark it's a priority because that sun is so wicked at times. We try to just figure out who can handle it. Sometimes you may be a step slow from what you wanted. Sometimes you may move let's say a center fielder over to right field because he handles it best. But it's something that's very important to us, and you just play the conditions that you are dealt. And so I can't say that we've ever moved somebody that we thought should play somewhere else, but we'll stick everybody over in right field and figure out who's the best.
Is Sedlock the type of guy that could challenge to be a weekend starter right off the bat?
Boy, Dave, some years I would say absolutely yes. I really believe our pitching is better than it's ever been, and we have a lot of young players that could take some of those roles this year. I think we need to see what unfolds throughout the year, where we are health-wise, because that's always an issue with every pitching staff, where you are from a health standpoint. I think command-wise, and I think with the breaking ball that he has and his competitiveness, I think he's a person that could pitch on the weekends. But all those things are dictated by not only what he does, but what some of the other guys are doing here. Ability-wise, yes. I hope we're in a situation where where it's a situation we get to pick and choose where we put him because we have many options. You haven't heard that before, have you, from me?
Which player out of these six is the top pro prospect? Who do the scouts like the best out of these six?
Well, Alex Greer, probably because he's a little further along from an age standpoint. Cody Sedlock has gotten a lot of interest late from scouts because he's kind of an unknown player. He's somebody that wasn't seen a lot in the summer by a lot of scouts. And then I think you have to put Ryan Roper in that group too because he's so highly ranked, and he's just been a guy that's produced, and he has so many tools. I mean, he probably his worst tools is running, but doesn't run poorly. Can play shortstop, has power. Competitive on the mound, 87 to 90, 91. Again, a very good arm. So there's a number of players, but I would say if you have to pick one, it's probably Alex Greer. He's kind of a full package type person, can run, throw, hit, has power. You talk about 5 tools, he has some ability in all areas.
Anything else?
Lauren, you're not going to roast me on anything?
I'm just trying to keep up with you.
I'll talk slower. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you being here.